Tonight on RCVTV, we'll be taking a look at the Istick 40w as well as the Nautilus Mini. All right, folks, here we have the Istick 40w temperature controlled battery. We're going to open up the box, show you all the extras you get with it, and how to operate the device. So we'll just pop off this top layer here. Here is our battery itself. Certain models did come with a tank. This one in particular doesn't, but just in case you're asking what was that little spot for, now you know. And within here we have our charging cord found within the box. We'll take a closer look at that in just a moment here. The 510 adapter, so it can use many different styles of tanks. If your tank doesn't just fit right into that connector there, this little guy will make it work. So keep that in mind. And then our user manual. This will show you kind of the things we're going over at the moment. If you happen to forget anything we've said on this video, take a look at this, it can help you out. And as I promised, we're going to take a quicker look at the cord here. So the charging cord is a micro USB to USB cord. The micro end would plug in the bottom of your iStick battery, right into here. And the other end either into your USB port, your computer, your car, if you have a wall adapter, all those types of things will work for it. But unfortunately, it does not come with one of those. If needed, inquire in store. Just going to slide all this stuff aside and we're going to look at its matching counterpart. Give me one moment to set that up. So continuing forward, we have our Nautilus Mini tank, which we will be pairing with our Istick 40w today. This also comes with a few extras, so before we put them together and start vaping, we want to show you what it comes with. So I'm just going to crack open the top here. First thing we have is the user manual. Now, the user manual is actually quite large, one of the larger I've seen for a tank, but it does come in multiple languages, so that's very nice of Aspire to do that for us. And then we have another piece of paper here. This little guy is describing how to fill up the tank and prepare it for vaping. But we have a step that kind of skips this. It makes it so you can vape right away. You don't have to wait the 2 minutes, which this recommends, so we'll show you that. But just so you know what it is. Then within the tank, within the box, we have the tank itself, a coil, and a beauty ring. The tank, we're just going to set aside. There is one of those spare coils within there. So you do get 2 coils when purchasing this device. And the beauty ring we actually do not need. That's another adapter. It's made to make the tank look better on certain batteries. So we're just going to set that aside completely. Now we want to show you how to open up the tank for both filling and for changing the coil. To do so, turn the tank upside down, grab onto the base here, and spin the glass to open. Takes a few turns, but it does open up eventually. So here is our separated tank. We have the airflow control ring, the coil, and the top portion. Now the top portion of this tank does also unthread for a couple reasons. If this glass breaks, you can replace it. You can also switch it up to something more like the snowflake pattern if you just want something with a bit more protection, maybe a cooler look, that's an option. Or as mentioned before, you can just get another glass. A lot of people will also take their tank apart like this to give it a real good clean if they had a really strong flavor of juice in there and then they're going to something else. Not a bad idea to rinse everything out. The last removable piece is the drip tip. A lot of people will also customize their vape beyond the tank sheath with something a bit more colorful than this stainless steel guy. But that's all personal preference, all things you can do later in life. For now, we're going to show you how to change the coil and use this bad boy. So here's our spare coil we pulled from the tank earlier. Let's say, for example, this one is tasting really gross and nasty. You think the coil's burnt out. It's time to change it. So we would open our tank, as I showed you earlier, grabbing the airflow ring and spinning the glass. Once it's opened, you do the same with the coil. Hold the airflow ring and spin that little coil out. Then turf that in the garbage and grab your secondary coil, your nice fresh one. And that just screws in finger tight. Good rule of thumb to keep everything finger tight. Don't over tighten or you could run into problems. But This guy is now ready for filling. So we're going to be grabbing one of our juices today from River City Vapes. This will be our Pineapple Express. It's pineapple all up in your face. Quite delicious. And that bottle, just beautiful. Artwork done by a local artist here in Edmonton. Now, the priming steps. As we mentioned earlier, that little yellow piece of paper recommend we fill up our tank and let it sit for a couple minutes. Ourselves, we're going to skip that by putting 5 drops of juice into the coil. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is called priming your coil. It makes it so you can vape almost immediately. Now for filling the tank, we do want to avoid that inner tube. We want it around the outside portion of the tank to avoid leakage. Easiest way to do this is to pop the tip directly into the tank. You can see the tip going past the silver column, and then just fill it up. Try to stop a little bit below the column. If you go too high, it will leak out of the drip tip. And once you have enough juice in your canister, you can attach this, and again, just finger tight. Do not over tighten these. Once we are finger tight on here, we have our airflow control at the bottom. I'm going to bring this a bit closer to the camera. You can see right there, our airflow is now set, and we can rotate it until it clicks. Boom. You can see that little tiny dot right above the hole. This is the indicator for how much air is passing through on your inhale. The bigger the dot, the easier it will be to draw. Should you prefer a more cigarette-like draw, you are going to want to use one of the tighter settings. Today, we will be setting it on setting number 2, very similar to a cigarette, and we will then set this up with our battery. All right, guys, we're going to be taking a closer look at the Istick 40W here. The first thing we need to do is power it up. To do so, we're going to click the fire button 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we are displaying 7.5 watts of power. The adjustment features are the arrows on the side here. So down is down, up is up. And the third button in the middle is for the temperature control. Now today we are using Kanthal coils with the Nautilus Mini, the stock coils it comes with. So we are going to run in power mode. If we were using a nickel coil or some temperature sensing coil, we would have to switch over to temperature control with the center button there. For more information on temperature control, please check out the video we made on it, found below in our links. All right, guys, moving forward, we're going to be showing you how to connect our tank to our battery. At the top of our tank, we have our 510 connection, as well as a 510 pin on the tank. Those are a match made in heaven, and they should thread together quite easily. Now, one thing to keep in mind when threading your tank onto your battery, you do not want to over-tighten. They can cause quite a few issues. Main one, however, is an inability to get them apart again. All right, guys, we got our Nautilus Mini and our Istick 40W set up, ready to rock here at 7.5 watts on the second smallest airflow setting. So this is going to be a draw that is meant to simulate a cigarette pull. Very much like a cigarette, you're going to inhale the same way, just a short breath in, fill up the mouth with vapor, and then inhale, like so. Now we saw the length of the pull I took there. That is a fair length of a haul for this type of device. The longest you'd probably want to take about 5 seconds or so. Any longer and you could start damaging the coil and make it wear out quicker. So keep that in mind when you're taking your hauls. It is not meant for huge lungfuls of vape. It is more of a mouth to lung experience. More for the user who is fresh off of cigarettes looking for that switch over the guy who wants to enter a cloud competition and win some stuff. So if you're looking to switch, that would be a great device for you. I am going to change a setting real quick just to show you the difference, because this device can grow with you a bit as well. So if you find that the tighter airflow is not quite working for you, you can open it up a bit, get a nice easier pull, and then you can also bump up the wattage. This will increase the vapor production to something well beyond what a cigarette would output. I think most of us could agree. Let's show you quickly. So a fair size haul, really good flavor. I prefer it myself over the tighter airflow, but that's going to be up to you. You'll find your own setting, your own wattage, your own airflow. It is a very personal thing, so be prepared to figure that out on your own. Gonna quickly touch on coil longevity again. The higher your number is, the quicker your coil is gonna burn out. So that 5 days to 2 weeks I mentioned earlier can definitely vary depending on the juice you're using, as well as how hard you're hitting the machine and how often. So all things to keep in mind. But I believe we've covered it all. As always,
subscribe to the channel, like the videos.
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Like us on Facebook, and until next time,
Make smart choices.